Swadika, good afternoon, all distinguished guests and everyone. Welcome all of you once again to Lab Square, where you can gain valuable insights from industry experts. You are now with us here in Thailand LAB International, co-located with BioAP International, Future Chem International, and Health and Innovation Asia 2025. So we'd like to bring everyone to our special session on ASEAN Food Safety Forum under the themes of food allergen labeling and list management, regional updates and the latest Codex Guidance, hosted by KU First, Kasetsat University Food Innovation Research and Services in Thailand, cooperate with Innolab. To moderate this session, ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in welcoming Associate Professor Dr. Kanitaporn Wangnai from Faculty of Agroindustry, Kasetsat University.
Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you all to the ASEAN Food Safety Forum 2025. Thank you, Khun Jun, to introducing me. It's such a great pleasure to serve as the moderator for today's event. And this year, our theme is food allergen labeling and risk management, regional updates, and the latest Codex Guidance, which is a very exciting topic and very much in line with the current global trend as the Codex has just updated the list of the priority allergens. And today we're fortunate to have 3 speakers from 3 countries to update for the allergen and share their expertise for us today. To officially begin today's forum, it's my honor to invite Associate Professor Dr. Varapha Mahakanjanakul, Director of the Kasetsat University Research and Development Institute and KU Centers of Excellence, to deliver the opening remarks. Please join me to welcome Dr. Varapha on the stage, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Varapha Mahakanjanakul. I'm the director of the Research and Development Institute, Kasetsat University, and also the member of the KU First. On behalf of Kasetsat University, Food Innovation Research and Services in Thailand, so-called KU First, we are very pleased to inform you that KU First cooperate with VNU Exhibition Asia Pacific Company Limited, Neogen Asia Thailand Company Limited, and Media Matter Company. We cooperate organize the 17th ASEAN Food Safety Forum on today, September the 4th, 2025, at here by Tech Bana, Bangkok. This conference aims to present food allergen labeling and the risk management regional updates and the latest Codex Guidance concerning the issue of food safety and nutrition security for Asian issue. Therefore, Asian Food Safety Forum have been organized as an annual seminar. This seminar will be the platform for exchanging the knowledge on driving food industry among food-related professionals. And this year, we focus on codex and the current regulations related to allergens management in food and agriculture commodity in ASEAN. I also are pleased to add more information on the related unit from Kasetsat University, KU First. KU First is the Center of Excellence under Kasetsat University Advanced Institute Study. This COE is based on academic works of many of faculty involved, such as Faculty of Agriculture, Faculty of Fishery, Faculty of Science, Faculty of Agriculture, and so on, and of course, the Institute of Food Research and Product Development. Our mission is integrating multidisciplinary knowledge on food industry, mobilize and consolidate KU-wide resources for easy access by food industry. We also do support human resources development for sustainable food development and facilitate cooperation between and among food research institute, private sector, and community-based enterprise. Back to our seminar, we would like to contribute our knowledge, experiences, and the updated information about food safety to public. So I do sure that this forum will make success as we expect. I may take this opportunity to thank you for your cooperation to make this remarkable event happen. And special thanks to all our sponsors and honorable guests for your support today. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Varapha. All right, we start with our first speaker. Our first speaker is Ms. Davisa Phaibunsiri from National Bureau of Agricultural Commodity and Food Standards, or we call ACFS, of Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. She will begin with the brief background of Codex and works related to allergen management, and then continue with the Thailand's country report on the current regulations for allergen labeling. Please welcome Ms. Davisa on the stage, please.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for KU First for organizing this event. And thank you for introduction as well. My name is Davisa Phaibunsiri, and my office is the National Bureau of Agricultural Commodity and Food Standards. We are the Codex contact point of Thailand. So basically, we are coordinating with the International Food Standards Program. And we'll talk about that later on in my slide. So my topic today is about the allergen labeling, which the Codex Insight and the Thailand's experience and the country report of what's happening now in Thailand and the challenges that we may have with the updated Codex guidelines and standards. And this is the outline. So basically the two topics with the international situation and the Thailand's. Before we begin, many of you may know that the prevalence of allergy is very important in world population. With the latest, the studies here is about a meta-analysis study with combined almost 105 published articles, including about 3 million participants. And they found that prevalence of the food allergy is about 4.3, and you can see that many regions face this prevalence of the allergy, and it's quite important that many government and regulations should take action into that. And the allergy is not very controllable because you can get it very easily if you have the family history about that. So it's unavoidable with this disease. It's not something that can be cured. So what we can do with the allergic people, we can avoid that by not taking or not exposing yourself to those allergens. One of the things that we can do with the food allergy is labeling, of course. In this study from the US Food Safety Authority and the Food Safety Organization of the Australia and New Zealand, they found that with the allergen declaration, consistent labeling information is very important. So many consumers prefer clear statement, like the clear separate statement from the ingredient list itself. The format is very important, so you have to have the clear format, very legible to the consumers, like the font size and the style. Consistent placement is very important as well. So consumers don't have to go look all through the labeling of the food package to find the allergen information. Clear terminology is very important as well, so consumer won't get confused. But that is quite a different story for the precautionary allergen labeling or PAL. They found that with inconsistent terminology and inconsistent use of the manufacturers, they find that it's very uncertain and affect the choices of the food. Some people get so stressful or so serious with the may contain statement and they avoid all the food with that. But the food may not contain that much allergy that may affect the health actually. In other way around, some consumers get, well, may contain, it may not contain it, so they consume it. That's expose risks to themselves. So that's why the government and the international standard program think of maybe we have to do something about it. So before we get into the point, let me introduce you about the Codex. I'm not sure many, do you know about Codex? Have you heard of it before? I'm grateful that there's some people say yes or not. Well, Codex is the joint FAO and WHO food standard program that have two main purposes of protecting consumer health with the global consumers and ensuring fair practices in food trade as well. The output of Codex is recognized by the WTO or World Trade Organization under this SPS and TBT agreements, which is a sanitary and phytosanitary agreement and a technical barrier to trade agreement. So basically, these agreements say that member states or the countries should align their regulations or their standards with the international standards. That's why it's important to us. Where the Codex get the standards from? This is the Codex here. So the Codex takes itself as a risk manager. In setting up standard, they need to get some science information or science evidence behind it. They cannot just take up the standards from anywhere. So they have to base on the risk assessors or risk assessment results. For the allergen purposes, with the existing bodies of scientific advisors, they are not familiar enough to provide sufficient advice. So the FAO and WHO, they set up a new ad hoc expert consultation especially for this. So after the work, they provide the scientific advice to Codex. And then as in Thailand and Malaysia and Singapore and many other 188 countries exactly, as a Codex member, we refer to the international standards. And what we do as a Codex contact point in our office, we contact the stakeholders. Many of you may get some contact from us, from ACFS, to get some more information about many regulations. And then we combine all these comments and information from all of you here and get back to the Codex to try to make the international standard fit and appropriate to our context. We have, in Codex, they have many committees that involve in setting up standards. We will talk mostly about these committees here, because we have this committee on food labeling, which is the main body who set up this standard for labeling. We have food hygiene. We'll talk about that later on, what they do about that. We have nutrition and food for special dietary users, which is they set up this standard for food for special dietary use for person intolerant to gluten. So how to use gluten-free claims. So this body here. And we also involve a lot with method of analysis and sampling, or CC mass. They are involved a lot with all of you here with the method of analysis and everything. So Codex work prior to 2020, we developed the standard of the gluten-free claim. Also, we developed the standard for the labeling of prepackaged foods, CXS1, which is the one that's very important here. After 2020, which is very long time ago, if you see from the previous slide, this is published in 1979, and this is published in 1985. And in 1985, the Codex Stand 1 doesn't even include the allergen list. It only includes allergen list in 1990s. So if you count all the years, only in 2020 that Codex started to work again with the allergen. And they started work in the CCFH, or Food Hygiene Committee. What did they do? They published the Code of Practice on Food Allergen Management for food business operators. What did they say about this? They covered all the allergen management in the supply chain from the primary production into the final goods. But when they publish all this, they come into a few questions, which is how to ensure cleanliness, because after you manage all the production and manufacturing practices, how can you ensure that the allergen is well managed? So that's come into the question about how to ensure cleanliness. And because they published in 2020, CC Food Labeling hasn't published the new version of the list yet, so they still refer to unupdated 9 allergen list. So with this question, they request the scientific advice from the scientific bodies, which I mentioned earlier. With the existing bodies, they cannot have much expertise for the allergens, so they set up a new one, FAO and WHO experts on consultation on the allergen. So the scientific advice they provide is whether the current list with the 9 allergies has to be updated or not. That's the one question. Do we have to set a threshold for that? And evaluate the evidence to support whether Codex has to do something with PAL. So after a few years, 3 years actually, the results from scientific advice come to the Food Labeling Committee, and we updated the list of the priority allergens. Before, we have 1 list only, but now we have 2. And we have a few more clearer criteria and provisions how to present the allergen clearer for the consumers. And that is unfinished because we also have few more work to do with the PAL. The guidelines on the use of PAL is still underdeveloped, but is expected to be published next year. The work should be concluded next year. And also the methods of analysis, which will be taken by CCMAS. So this is the summary result from the scientific advice. First of all, the previous list with the 9 allergens. The scientific advice come into conclusion that the list of allergens should only include those with immune-mediated only. So that means it includes only the IgE-mediated and celiac disease. The conclusion will come into later part. And what is the criteria they use, the scientific body use to differentiate or tell which one is a priority, which one is not? These are the criteria: the prevalence, potency, and severity. The expert bodies also recommend member countries to use these criteria to set up their own as well if they don't want to rely just the priority allergen. So these are the previous allergen list, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with. This is the update one. So you can see from the color, with the green one, they are the same as the previous list. The yellow with the sesame is just added, the newly added one. And the pink one are the one from tree nut. Beforehand, we only used the tree nut as the whole. But now, with more evidence, science evidence, they can find that the almond, cashew, hazelnut, pecan, pistachio, and walnut are very important and fit the criteria said before, these three criteria. And the evidence say that these lists here are very prioritized in global level. You can see that someone missing. Soybean is missing, sulfite is missing. And soybean will be answered in the next slide, but sulfite, according to this criteria used by the expert, you can see that why sulfite is not included because it's not immune mediated. But sulfite is still included in Codex Stand 1 because the allergy to sulfite is very severe and they don't want to miss it out. So what happened? They separate sulfite into the new section. It's in the Codex Standard 1, but it's new section because it's not immune mediated. And they also have the new list, which is for national and regional one. So if any member state or any countries would like to set up their own priority list for allergen, they can use these criteria, prevalence, severity, and potency, to identify which of these are important to their country. You can see that the green one, the oats, used to be in one of the gluten-containing cereals. It's separated now here. Soybean is also included in the national and regional allergen list. These are the newly added: buckwheat, celery, lupin, and mustard. And the pink one, again, they are separated from the tree nut group, become the Brazil nut, macadamia, and pine nut. For the exemptions, beforehand, Codex doesn't say much about exemptions, so it's up to the nations to say how they're gonna accept that. But now the experts say, if you want to exempt something, you have to base on risk assessment. So they give you this criteria and decision tree to decide about. So you have to have the description of the priority allergenic source. You have to have documentation of history of use. Come all through this into the step 5, whether your document provide enough evidence to prove that it's safe comparing to the exempted product or derivative with established history of safe use. If not, you have to undergo a further risk assessment step, which is include exposure assessment or even clinical evaluation. So that's the one of the criteria recommended to be used by the competent authority in member states. And this is the declaration. So beforehand, Codex doesn't say much how to declare allergen. But now they have separate new section, section 8.3 in Codex Standard 1, how to provide this information. So basically, Codex allow the use in like the EU, sorry, like the EU about okay. So they allow the presentation in the list of ingredients. So if you have allergen in here, you just make it bold or different styles. It will also allow the separate statement, like in Thailand style. And there are many other provisions about that to make it clearer, which is quite easier to follow, actually. Now come to the exciting part, which is probably very important to many of you as a lab, because we are talking about PAL, precautionary allergen labeling. With this guideline, it's very short one, it's not very detailed at Codex Stand 1, but the general principles only have 4 principles. One is to implement food allergen management practices, which is the one that developed by the Food Hygiene Committee. How you control the allergen in processing steps. The second principle, use the risk assessment to justify the use of PAL. So beforehand, you can just use PAL, like may contain, produce in the same factory, or something else, something similar words to that. You can use it freely. If you found that that's a risk, then you can use it. But now you can't, because you have to have risk assessment to justify that. And how to justify that? The use of PAL, you have to compare it to reference dose. This is the current guideline, the draft, but with a lot of complication in the use. Many developing countries like Thailand, for example, we try to slow it down, please. We still have many things to figure out, because this is the step that they want us to do. First, you have to have the allergen control management in place, have to have appropriate risk assessment, and then you have to find the unintended allergen presence, or UAP, whether or not the present level is more than action level, which is based on the reference dose. If not, then you don't have to say, you don't have to have may contain statement on your package. But there is, then you can say, you can use the PAL. And this is the reference dose. They provide all the reference doses for all the priority list as well as the regional list. So you can see that the allergen in mg per of total protein from the allergen. And then this reference dose has to be transferred to action level. And there are many complications, as many of you may already know, that how to use analytical method for different food metrics, different levels, and it costs for the food producers. So that's why, as a competent authority in the international forum, we try to slow them down very much. And we, with our comments, a lot of comments, and kind of slowing the process down, the FAO and WHO then say, okay, if you guys don't understand much, or you have to be more familiar with this kind of concept. So they have this more work for the expert. They make the recommendation on the guidance for risk assessment, which is just published, the summary report last month. They say that the UAP actually can be controlled by the GHP or GAP or GMP or HACCP. And quality risk assessment is mandatory, but not quantitative. but beforehand, the draft is said that you should have the quantitative risk assessment, right? It's quite a concern for the competent authority. And it's recommended that some small or less developed business should be more guided, so they will define. So you could expect in the next couple of years that there will be more guidance for the small food manufacturers, how to control and make risk assessment for the use of palm. And they will provide the detailed framework for food allergen risk management in a few moments of time. I would expect that. So that's about the codex part. So now I come to the Thailand part. Basically, the main agencies for food control in Thailand there are two ministries. One is Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, which is my organization is under, and also Ministry of Public Health. The responsibility are separated by the level of processing. So basically, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, we look more on the food production and primary production, whereas the Ministry of Public Health, they look more on the consumer protection and the food import and domestic production and domestic market. The relevant standards that is already in place for the moment, under Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, we also have the allergen management, but it's under the GHP and HACCP, which is the Thai agriculture standard for GMP and HACCP, which are adopted from the Codex General Principle for Food Hygiene, which is general hygiene practices. Under Ministry of Public Health, though, they also have this notification number 420, which is provide the practices for food producers for basic GMP. And also the notification number 450, which is just revised last year about the labeling of prepackaged food, which include the labeling provisions and the presentation. This slide shows you how the each revision of the Ministry of Public Health notification on the labeling of prepackaged food. At the current, we are here, 2024 publication. The list of allergen, the first before, the same as the Codex one. But with the latest one, they add shellfish, squid, and the product thereof. With the allergen declaration beforehand is quite strictful, so you have to have separate statement with the word information for food allergy and then contain what. But with all the revision at the current declaration, more flexibilities were added. So the use of information for food allergy may be omitted and use other terms which provide similar definitions or meaning. And the statement, the separate statement, do not have to be adjacent or below the list of ingredients. It can be anywhere on the label, but prominent to consumers. So with all these developments from the international point of view and the Thailand situation, in my point of view, we have a lot of challenges ahead. First of all, we have to find out whether we need to revise the relevant standards or not. Laboratory capacity. Do all labs capable of that? The government lab, the referent labs? Risk assessment capacity for the food producers, especially the SMEs. Do we need more surveillance and data generation? Because with the sesame, we don't have much of the data representing our country or our region. So in the next 10 years, if the standard and all the list will be again revised, should we have more data from our country and our region? Industry preparation, of course, because there's a lot of things they have to do for example, the risk assessment, and of course, consumer awareness, because in some food that they would expect may contain statement, it may not already. And they may have introduced a new allergens as well. So that's about it from me. And if you want more information, you can find out from the Codex website, the WHO website on all the reports of the experts, and you can contact our office. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kun Davisa, for very interesting topic. Next, please join me welcoming our second speaker, Ms. Liana Mohammad Nizar, Senior Assistant Director of the Food Safety and Quality Program, Ministry of Health, Malaysia. She will present on Malaysia's current regulations for allergen labeling. Please welcome Ms. Liana on the stage, please.
Thank you everyone. Thank you. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank to Kasetsart University for inviting Malaysia to this event. So my topic today is on sharing what is the country reports on the allergen labeling and what is going on in our regulations. Okay, so have anyone here export food product to Malaysia? Okay, I believe there is industry that export to Malaysia. So this is one of the important things that you have to take care. Okay, so in Malaysia is I'm Nurliana bint Muhammad Nizar from the Food Safety Quality Division, Ministry of Health, Malaysia. So in Malaysia, the main food safety governance in Malaysia is our Food Safety Quality Program, Ministry of Health, which is the competent authority and also the regulatory authority of the food, which is we are controlling on the safety and the quality of the food product that market, export or local in Malaysia. Okay. So this is our regulations, which is if you are export to Malaysia, then you have to know what is the requirement, regulations that in our regulation. So it is under our Food Act 1983. So this is the latest version. So our mandate of the Food Act is to, of course, to ensure the public is protected against health hazard and the food fraud. And allergen is one of the health hazard, okay? Because it can fatal, okay? So this is actually the arrangement. If you look into our regulations, so this is our arrangement of the regulation under the food regulation. So it will there is under the part 4 is the labeling. So one of it is the requirement for the allergen labeling, which is stipulated under the provision of 11.1 and 11.5. So what is stipulated under the regulation 11.1 EA. So under 11.1 EA, it mentioned that any food ingredient that known to cause hypersensitivity, the ingredient shall be declared on the label. So in Malaysia, we use term hypersensitivity because previously it included also hypersensitivity. So just now, when Ms. Darmisa been mentioned that the codex has been adopted in last year. So we are not changing our regulation yet. So we still use the term of hypersensitivity. So in this provision, it mentioned that any ingredient that can cause hypersensitivity or allergen, it must be declared on the label. And what is the ingredient that can cause the hypersensitivity? So in current regulation, we have only five food ingredients that can cause their hypersensitivity, which is, the first is the cereals. Cereal containing gluten, wheat, example like the wheat, rye, barley, and oats. And then we also have nut and nuts product, including the peanut and soya bean. Then we also have the fish and fish product. So here, fish and fish product, including all the marine aquatic life. We have the milk and milk product and also egg and egg product. And not forget on the sulfite. So in regulation, it is not packed together with the ingredient that can cause hypersensitivity, because we know that sulfite is one of the preservative. So it is packed under the regulation of preservative, but you still have to declare when the sulfite is more than 10 ppm. Let's say you add the sulfite more than 10 ppm, then you have to mention the words contain sulfur dioxide. That is one of the mandatory statement. So this is example how the industry usually will appear on the label. Okay, so example here, the first is chocolate malt drink. Let's say it's a chocolate malt drink. So you have the cocoa powder, then you have the malt extract, which is the malt extract actually is a big group of the cereal, right? So you must be specifically mention what is the type of malt that you have used, whether you use the barley, oat, or rye. You have to mention this specifically. So the second example is premixed coffee. So usually in the premixed coffee, the industry using the non-dairy creamer. So non-dairy creamer, so usually I will advise industry to look into the product spec, because sometimes when you use the term non-dairy, so should be there is no dairy, correct? But you have to careful, because some of the ingredients they are use the sodium caseinate, which is the sodium caseinate is a milk protein. Okay, so you must be cautious. So when you using the non-dairy creamer, so if there is a use of sodium caseinate, so you must mention non-dairy creamer in bracket contain milk protein. So this is also happened to one of our Malaysia product also. We exporting to the Australia. It's a coconut milk, but they are using the non-dairy creamer, but they are not highlighting the contain milk protein. So that product have to return back to Malaysia. Okay. So biscuit. So here is example for the nutrients and additive that source it from the allergen or hypersensitivity. So example like DHA, we know that DHA is come from the fish. So you must declare DHA fish. And additive here, emulsifier, lecithin. Okay, soy lecithin. So there is one case happened just now in country Malaysia. So because we take one product from the Thailand, then we test for the allergen. Then we found out there is a soy, traces of soy, but it does not mention anywhere traces of soy. But we found that they are using the lecithin. Because in Malaysia right now, for the additive statement, you can use, you can declare in the label as functional class followed by the chemical name, or functional class followed by the INS number. So that industry using functional class followed by INS number for lecithin. So it just declare emulsifier in bracket INS 322 sub 1. But then it doesn't. They did not declare the soy, contain soy. So that product have to return back. But we know that the lecithin actually it can come from the soy, or it can come from sunflower oil or other oil, plant-based. So if you are using the soy, then you have to write as a soy. Okay? So this is what Ms. Dawisa said, precautionary allergen labeling. So in our regulation, it doesn't know specific, you have to write as a precaution allergen labeling. But usually we will advise industry if there is a possibility of cross-contamination, then you may put the word contain traces or manufactured in same facility. Because we have come across of a product, there is a porridge. So the chicken porridge, there is a traces of fish. Maybe this there are share with the same processing line with the fish. So they are not declared this manufactured in the same facility. They also process fish. So that company also been punished. Let's say if they write this statement, maybe they will not be punished. Okay? So in Malaysia also, there is some allergen management where we put it under the Malaysia standard. So we have the Malaysia standard for food safety according to the HACCP system, where it already covered the allergen management. And also, we are also refer to the Codex on the practice of food hygiene, allergen management for the business operator. Okay, so this is what the industry in Malaysia is referring on the allergen management. So what's next? What's next? Okay, because previously I mentioned that in regulations, so one of it is a nut and nut product. But in the Codex, it's a 3 nuts. So there is a question from our industry, and others industry also say that all legumes is also allergen source. Legumes is example like the lentils, chickpeas, mung bean. So those actually is allergen or not? Is allergen or not? Allergen or not? No. So legume is not one of the allergen, except for peanut and soybean. That is a legumes, but it can cause the hypersensitivity or allergen. But not all legume is a hypersensitivity. So that's why in regulation, right now, we amend our regulations to 2 food category, 2 food ingredients. So we divided nut and nuts product into the 3 nut and 3 nut, except coconut. Because coconut is part of the 3 nuts, but it's not cause an allergen. So we make exception for the coconut and make separate subcategory for the peanut and soybean product. But this one is been amending before the adoption of new Codex standard. Okay? So we are not taking out the new requirement under the Codex. So like Ms. Darwisa say, on the new adoption, so as been shown by the Ms. Darwisa, so there are a specific food ingredient that one is a mandatory and another one is optional by risk assessment. So like example here is the cereal containing gluten. Certain of the ingredient under the cereal is mandatory to be declared, but like oat is under the voluntary, which if the country needs to take this one, it must have the risk assessment. And others like the 3 nuts, like Ms. Darwisa mentioned, one specific 3 nut is a mandatory under the mandatory, and another part is not mandatory, not in the list of mandatory to be declared, but it is need to have the risk assessment, based on the risk assessment. So the challenge for Malaysia right now, because there is a limited on the risk assessment, because not all patients in Malaysia that have the allergen come to the hospital or been recorded. Like me, I also have allergen, but I'm not going to hospital to tell that I'm allergic to those foods. So there is no specific data. So to do the risk assessment, we need more data. Maybe we have to collect and collaboration with the industry, and then with the university to get more data to do the risk assessment. And of course, like Ms. Darwisa said, also on the lab capability, because right now also to do the specific, like the 3 nut, so on the 3 nut itself, so it needs more lab capability on that. Okay, so with the different methodologies also, so for Malaysia we need more data on that. That's all for me. So as conclusion is, I think that the allergen is very important. So if within the ASEAN we can collaborate to get the data also, it's good to get that data. Okay, so with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Liana. All right. Our next presentation is the country report on the current regulations for allergen labeling in Singapore. And the speaker is Ms. Sia Pik Ching, Deputy Director of the Regulatory Standards and Veterinary Office at the Singapore Food Agency. Although she couldn't join us in person today, we are pleased to share her record presentation on Singapore's regulations. Her record, please.
My name is Sia Pek Cheng. I'm from the Singapore Food Agency. Today, I have the honor to share with you Singapore's allergen labeling for pre-packed food. Firstly, I would like to give a brief introduction about Singapore Food Agency, the agency where I come from. Singapore Food Agency, or SFA, is a statutory board under the Ministry of Sustainability and the Environment. It was formed on the 1st of April 2019 to oversee food safety and food security from farm to fork. The vision of SFA is safe food for all, and our mission is to ensure and secure a supply of safe food. SFA adopts the principle that ensuring food safety for our population is a joint responsibility between the government, industry, and consumers. While the government can put in place a comprehensive food safety system, the industry and consumers must also play their part. The industry can adopt food safety assurance and enhance its food safety competency. For example, through adopting food safety management system to give consumers the assurance that what they are eating are safe. Consumers can also play their part by being aware of food safety risk and take necessary precautions to keep food safe for their families and for themselves. Now, I would like to share an overview of Singapore's labeling requirements for pre-packed food. All pre-packed food for sale to consumer in Singapore must be labelled. Under the Food Safety and Security Act, the term pre-packed is defined as food that is sealed or packed in the package in which the food is to be supplied. For pre-packed food, when it is sold to the consumer cannot see what's in the food or how it is made. So it is very important that the information of the food to be provided on the package so the consumer can know what they are purchasing. This is especially important for consumers with allergies, for example, peanut or egg allergies, who cannot consume food containing peanuts or eggs, as this would trigger an immune response in their bodies, which may even be fatal. There are also consumers with specific dietary needs who, because of religious or health reasons, choose to follow a certain diet and are not able to consume certain food. The information provided on the package of food is thus important to help guide their food choices. Pre-packed food for sale in Singapore must be labelled with the following mandatory information in English. First, name and description of the food. Secondly, statement of ingredients, including ingredients known to cause hypersensitivity to individual. It also has to be labelled with net quantity of food in the package, name and address of local business entity responsible for the food, country origin, lot identification, and direction for use. Now I will zoom into the requirements on statement of ingredients, including the ingredients known to cause hypersensitivity to individual. Statement of ingredients listed on the pre-packed food must be preceded by an appropriate heading or title. For example, ingredients. The manufacturers first have to list down all the ingredients used to make the food by their exact identities in descending order by ingoing weight. For example, for a coffee product, if the ingredients that make up bulk of the product is water, water should come first, followed by coffee powder, creamer powder, sugar, and so on. Second step, the manufacturers have to identify the compound ingredients used in the food and find out the constituent of the compound ingredients. The meaning of compound ingredients is those ingredients that are made up of more than one substances or constituent. So the food manufacturers have to list down all the constituents that make up the compound ingredients in descending order by weight, in parentheses next to the compound ingredients. You can look at the example at the bottom of the slides. For example, if whey protein powder is one of the ingredients and is made up of a few constituents in the whey protein powder, then the manufacturers have to list whey protein powder followed by the constituent in the whey protein powder. For example, in this case, is pea, brown rice, and pumpkin seed. Statement of ingredients must also include the ingredients that are known to cause hypersensitivities to individual. Under the food regulations, these are the list of foods and ingredients that cause hypersensitivity and must be declared on the food label. Firstly, cereals containing gluten. This refers to cereal like wheat, rye, barley, oat, spelt, or their hybridized strains and their products. Crustacean and crustacean product includes crayfish, prawn, shrimp, lobster, crabs, and their products. Egg and egg products include eggs from laying hens, as well as eggs from duck, turkey, quail, goose, gull, guinea fowl, and their products. Fish and fish products include fish and mollusks, such as oyster, clams, scallops, and their products. Next, we have milk and milk products, including milk from cows, buffalo or goats, and their products. Tree nuts and nut products include almond, hazelnut, walnut, cashew nut, pecan nut, Brazil nut, pistachio nut, macadamia nut, and their products. And finally, if the product contains sulfites in concentration of 10 milligrams per kg or more, it must also be declared. For example, if a food is added with food additive sulfur dioxide or sulfites directly, or it contains carried over sulfite products from food ingredients at a total concentration of 10 milligrams per kg or more, then the manufacturers have to declare this on the food label. Ingredients that cause hypersensitivities to individuals can be declared using two methods. Under example 1, the manufacturers can declare them as part of the statement of ingredients. You can see that wheat is declared under the statement of ingredients. Under example 2, the manufacturers can choose to highlight that this product contains wheat separately from the list of ingredients. Both these methods are allowed. That's all I have for today on the allergen labeling requirements in Singapore. If you have more questions and if you require more information, feel free to visit the Singapore Food Agency's website at www.sfa.gov.sg. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for her record video. And for the last, but not least for sure, our last speaker, please welcome Dr. Kirati Thamapan, Product Marketing of Neogen Asia Thailand. He will show us for food safety solution on allergen. Please welcome Dr. Kirati on the stage.
Swadikap. Hello everyone. My name is Kirati Thamapan. It's an honor to be here at the Asian Food Safety Forum. Today, I will show you how the Neogen to be the part of your allergen solution. Today, I will walk you through three main topics, including Neogen Food Safety Solution, Food Allergen Overviews, and Neogen Allergen Solution. The Neogen be the comprehensive food safety solution such as pretty film. I think you might well know about the pretty film for the indicator of bacteria testing, culture media or hygiene, also the hygiene monitoring and also the allergen and natural toxin products. The Neogen always supporting food security from farm to fork to make sure that the food producer until the consumer stay safe. Okay, and now in the part of food allergen overview, you guys all may know the food allergen is a specific protein that can trigger immune response. And the allergen fact, and now 220 to 520 million people may have food allergies. And the allergy can be the right threatening. The avoidance is the best strategy to avoid the allergic reaction. Food allergens consider the food safety hazard in the most regulatory organization. And food handling is a must to control, to minimize risk of the cross-contamination. For the allergen labeling regulation, and now for the USA and most regulation is concern the big nine, including milk, egg, peanut, wheat, tree nuts, soybean, sesame, fish, and crustacean. And some of the other country may have something else such as buckwheat, celery, mustard, lupin, mollusk, and sunflower. If you guys interested in the allergen regulation globally, you can go to the FARPP or FAR website to find out more the details. And for the Thailand, you guys all may know the statement should be clear, such as the contain something or may contain in the PAL, precautionary allergen labeling. And now for the Thailand, now concerned about now including gluten, peanuts, tree nuts, mollusk, soy, egg, milk, fish, and crustacean. And the food allergen is the part of the food safety system. So generally the facility must have a hazard analysis, including the risk assessment of any kind of food allergens, validated preventive controls, and accurate and clear labeling of allergen in the finished products. And have the validation schedule for the regular verification and monitoring procedure, and also have the corrective action plan. And the food allergens are regulated by both the government, such as FDA or EFSA, and also the private GSFI benchmark, such as FSC 22,000 or BRCGS. And in this slide, I will show you the allergen control plan, such as starting from the raw material and distribution to the storage. For the raw material, you have to ensure that the raw material are the source from the allergen-aware suppliers and require the allergen declaration from the vendors. And after distribution, you need to make sure that it has a plan or prevent the cross-contamination program. And the storage should be separate from the non-allergen and the allergens. And the manufacturing, you need to make sure have the plan for the plant's cleaning and sanitation. The plant cleaning and sanitation, you have to validated cleaning procedure to eliminate the allergen residue. And final product, segregate the allergen containing products, labeled correctly based on allergen present. And for the testing, you have to have the right method, such as the ELISA, also to verify cleaning effectiveness, the product safety, and also the final product to make sure that you label the right allergen. And why include testing in the allergen control? First, testing can help protect the public which means the consumer is safe from the allergen. Second, testing can help the protect from a company reputation is important also, and testing can simplify the product label. And last, testing can improve efficiency, how good or how better to your cleaning validation or cleaning sanitation. And now I will show you how the Neogen can be your partner in the allergen solution. For now, we have the product, including the qualitatives, including a Review 3D or the allergen protein rapid kit as the lateral flow device, and the quantitative, including the name of the Voratox or the Voratox VIP, and the semi-quantitative, the general protein swab. For the lateral flow device and the ELISA, the product is a antibody-based test, which is highly specific for specific allergen that you may concern. And for the qualitative is rapid. It just allows 5 to 11 minutes to get the result and easy to operate. For the quantitative is a laboratory based, and it's still easy to use and can be determined as a part per million or ppm. Okay, for the lateral flow device, we have the Review 3D and the allergen protein rapid. It's very fast, just 5 to 11 minutes, and easy to use, no need equipment. And some of them get the AOC, PTM, or GFFO approval. Okay, I will show you the sample how to use. It's just like the swab for the collected sample, and then add to the tube and extract. Just shaking for 1 minute, and after that, take the extractant and then just dip the device and wait the result for 5 minutes. And you get the result is contain the allergen or not contain the allergens. If you got interest more, you can reach out your Neogen representative, or you can go to our booth in over there. I will show you how to use it. Okay, next, for the ELISA-based method, we have the Voratox and the Voratox BSP. For the consumer that you need the specific allergen and in the amount of the ppm, it's still easy to use, and our kit is a validate for the food and environmental sample. It just take time around 30 minutes to get the result, and got the LAC PTM also. And the sensitivity is to meet the criteria of the Codex FAO and WHO also. And for the Voratox VIP is optimized, is higher sensitivity, and also can use the complex matrix such as the chocolate or had highly tanning. You can use this also. You can scan the QR code to find out about the Voratox VIPs in there. And if it's based on the analyte, and now we have 17 types for the lateral flow of the allergen and 13 types for the ELISA. Okay, and next part, we also provide the protein conversion. And why this matter? You may know, it's like when you determine the allergen is the report is as a ppm on total food scale, right? But according to the latest codex, such as the reference dose or the PAL, they're focusing on the ppm protein scale. If you not convert that, the result is when you determine your risk assessment, you can get like maybe your risk is like over or the underestimated. And if you use this, is like aligned with the global harmonization standard. Okay, and this one also is that another allergen. If you got interest, you can reach out to your Neogen representative also. And next, for the cleaning verification, I will show you the protein swab. It's called the authenticity. The authenticity is a real-time result just to get the immediately collective action as detect the total protein at least as a 3 microgram proteins. It's fit for purpose to many allergen control verification plan. And why use the protein swab. It's very easy to use. It's just swab, click, heat, and interpret. And the get result is a real time. And it can be easy to integrate your allergen management program. Last but not least, the sunfire that mentioned earlier is, it still have the allergen, even may not trigger the immune system, right? We have a kit, it's called a sunfire kit to test, to make sure that your allergen control pan is great. It's at grade LOD is just low as the 0.34 ppm. And it's very easy to use. If you got interested, you can reach out or go to the website, themegasam.com. And next. Okay. And I will show you how the Neogen can be your partner in allergen control plans. For the first part, you can use a total protein swab to verify how you clean, how to store it between non-allergen and the allergen, how the distribution. For the manufacturing, you still can use a total protein, or you can use a lateral flow as a review 3D or the allergen protein rapid kit to make sure that your plant is clean well. And last, for the final products, you can also use the same, and you can use the ELISA-based method to make sure that your final product is not contain any allergen and the right labeling. The Neogen is not just a supplier, it can be your partner because we had a support in the hardware, the software, and the tool and resource, and the metric feasibility. And the allergen that I told you is the part of the latest environmental monitoring handbook, second edition. This book is not only the allergen, it include the environmental monitoring program in your food facility. You can go to the website, neogen.com, and go to the get it free. You can go to the website to get each other free. Also, you can reach out your Neogen representative for details about this. And if you want to find out more, you can add us at the Neogen APAC or scan the QR code or connect us via the Facebook for the mostly the Thai people, right? For the Thai people, it's a Neogen Asia Thailand, or maybe the Line official also. You can add. You can join us. Okay, now I will show you the last hour promo video. Let's see. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kun Kirati. All right, we finished with all speakers and we have actually plenty of time. So we can have a QA section. If you have any question, please. ค่ะอาจารย์วราภา
Thank you very much for your informative about the allergens. Yeah, I have the question for the Malaysia, our neighborhood country. Yeah, we're talking about a lot about sesame. Yeah. So I haven't seen from the list of your allergens. Yeah, how it was.
Okay, as I mentioned before in my slide that just now our current regulation is many before the new adoptions. So for the new adoption of including the sesame, so right now we are not taken into the new adoption yet. So we will collect on the data risk assessment. We will do a risk assessment data on Malaysia. So if there is people that tolerates with the sesame, then we will add to our regulation, but not yet. We need maybe around another 5 years job to do. Okay, thank you.
It's under progress.
Yes, under progress. Yes.
So any more question from the floor? Okay, one more right there.
Should it be in Thai or in English? Okay, so I'm actually from the enzymes company, and during the enzyme production, we use some kind, like for example, wheat in our fermentations. And during the process, we do some of the purification. However, at the end, when the customer asks us about whether that we contain wheat in the finished products or not, it come into our kind like very critical answer that we have to answer to the customer. But because of the ELISA process right now that you evaluate, it cannot be say that it is none, right? We still have like not like lower detection limit. So in such a case, can we say if we cannot detect by the ELISA, can we say that it is non-allergens? Or we still have to say it contains allergens?
Thailand or Malaysia?
I love all of you.
Okay. Thailand first? Okay. So on behalf of Malaysia, this is one of the critical parts because there is a sample also we take from the sample from outlet. So there is a product that actually like yours, so they are using the enzyme, but of course during the production, so there is no detection of enzyme, but maybe there are traces of maybe a little bit. So when we do the test, then it will be detected. So if not detected 100%, then if you want to declare, you also can, because it not be detected. So but once it can be detected, then it will cause problems to you.
Customer would come like, if you cannot say it's zero, you have to declare that it's contained. But there is no method to analyze that it is zero. So it's quite difficult for us to like go over this barrier.
Yeah, correct. It's a quite challenge there.
Maybe I can add something. I think the regulation in Thailand is similar to Malaysia, but with the new risk assessment for exemption, actually, if you want to exempt something or saying this not present in the food product, you can use the RFD, which is presented in the table and mentioned in several presenters. And the recommended margin of exposure that experts recommend is the RFD divided by 30. Yeah, if you undergo all the risk assessment for the exemption recommended by the experts, and then the level is below the RFD divided by 30, then you can ask for the exemption and don't have to say it. Yeah, but that is not in the regulation just yet. It's only recommended by the experts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes?
Can I speak Thai?
Sure ค่ะ
Okay. Can I ask you? Yes. About the Neogen ถ้าโรงงานเขาเป็นโรงงานที่ผลิตพวกงาขี้ม่อนเนี่ยฮะงาขี้ม่อนทางภาคเหนือเนาะอย่างเงี้ยเราดีเทคได้ไหม
งาขี้ม่อน
ใช่มันไม่ใช่เซซามิอ่ะแต่มันชื่องาขี้ม่อนอ่ะอย่างเงี้ยเราดีเทคได้ไหม
อันนี้เดี๋ยวต้องเช็คดูก่อนขอตอบแค่ว่าถ้าต้องไปดูชื่อภาษาอังกฤษนะหรือชื่อดูกลุ่มของมันว่ามันอยู่ในกลุ่มไหนแต่ว่าอาจจะยังไม่ได้การันตีนะตอนนี้เพราะว่าอย่างที่บอกชุดคิดของเราค่อนข้าง specific กับ regulation ซึ่งงาคิมอนมันน่าจะแยกออกไปจาก regulation ปกติ
ตัวเซซามิเนาะ
ใช่ครับ
พอดีมีลูกค้าถามมาก็เลยมีโอกาสก็เลยได้ถามอยู่
เดี๋ยวเราค่อยคุยกันหลังนี้ได้ครับ
โอเคครับ
So any more questions? All right. If not, and if you have further questions, our speakers are still around, and you can ask them later. All right. I think today we have explored allergen labeling and management, and focused like 3 countries: Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. And it's clear that allergen labeling is not just about regulations; it's about protecting consumers in everyday life. And last, thank you everyone to joining us today, and thanks to all our speakers and our sponsors. Thank you very much.
Special thanks to Associate Professor Dr. Kanitaporn Wangnai for moderating this session. So fantastic to have a question from our audience as well. Thank you very much for making this active session to all. And once again, we would like to encourage each participant kindly scan the QR code, which is displayed on the screen by now. If you have any suggestions for us, please kindly help us to improve our future edition of Lab Square to the next level. And once again, by waiting the time that everyone completing the conference away. Once again, today will be the incredible day. We heard from many billion minds and we learned so much. So we'd like to continue this momentum. We love to hear your feedback, your thoughts as well. To conclude today, which is the last session, it will be great, and we would like to express our appreciation. Thank you very much once again to everyone for joining us here at Lab Square. Kyrie brought me to introduce the final day will happening on tomorrow. The first session will start at 10:30 a.m. under the topics of Health Link, nationwide health data linking platform by Big Data Institute Public Organization, followed by the session by Building Beyond Tomorrow, AI Sustainability and Thai Research-Based Innovation, and conclude in the afternoon session from 2 p.m. onwards, Bio-Based Content Carbon-14 Lab. So we'd like to welcome everyone back here at Lab Square to gain more valuable insights from industry experts. Once again, you still have time to explore our exhibition until 5 p.m. today, and we look forward to welcoming everyone on tomorrow. Thank you very much, and see you on tomorrow.